I want to acknowledge President George Bush, who passed yesterday. I remember very well when in the early 90s he announced the Initiative of the Americas that was to create a free trade area from Alaska to Tierra del Fuego. And that dream, that challenge is still pending. And also I want to acknowledge the role that he played in the drop of the Berlin Wall and the end of the Cold War. So my regards and my prayers are with the Bush family. About the G20 summit in Buenos Aires, I believe that we have made great progress. Firstly, there was a greater dialogue, better goodwill, and greater pursuit of agreement, and also an attitude of moving from words and promises to actions and outcomes. And from this standpoint, the outcomes of this summit are very important for all countries, but very especially for small countries like Chile, that believe in the importance of having a world order with clear rules, agreed and transparent rules. About moving from words to action, very important agreements were arrived at during the summit. Firstly, about climate change, strong, clear support to Paris Agreement. We know that they are insufficient, and we know that we are not achieving them yet, and that they still have to be materialized in the summit that starts tomorrow in Potowice in Poland, that need to materialize concretely in practice the Paris Agreement to reduce temperature below 2 degrees. And as I said before, we need to take further steps into the future. And about this, I want to reassert the commitment of Chile of reducing emissions between 30 and 45% before 2030. I am referring to greenhouse gas reductions. Secondly, to promote energy transition and renewables, non-conventional renewables, and to move from a fossil fuel-based matrix, coal, gas, and oil, moving into renewables. From that standpoint, I wish to highlight that 92% of projects, energy projects that are being developed in Chile are based on clean and renewable energy sources, especially sun and wind energy. Thirdly, this is a new step forward, the strong commitment of modernizing and strengthening the World Trade Organization for it to fulfill the role that it is supposed to fulfill, to create fair trade based on clear and objective rules respected by all. Fourthly, strong commitment towards the implementation and contributing to implement the fourth industrial revolution worldwide, with special emphasis on focusing on the new sources of employment that will be required by new societies, and not to focus on the ones from the past that will be left aside. Fifth, commitment towards gender equality, and very specifically reducing the gap between men and women in the labor force by 25% before 2050. And lastly, but very importantly, relentless struggle against corruption. I want to quote a former U.S. president, our generation, and I'm talking about climate change, this is the first generation suffering the effect of climate change, but it is the last generation that can do something to prevent it from becoming a tragedy. That is the great responsibility we are tasked with, the citizens and the inhabitants of the 21st century, and the leaders that have come together in the G20 summit. President, good afternoon. I want to ask you about your view about this G20 and the controversies with the Saudi prince and the commercial war between the US and China. Was that left aside? And also, I want to ask you whether there is a difference marked with what happened in the last APEC, because an agreement was not reached, and it looks like there has been progress made in that direction. Is there any difference? Is there a positive conclusion? Are you ready to leave aside controversies?
Of course, that there are discrepancies, controversies. Of course, we have always had them, but the important thing is to be able to confront those controversies, those discrepancies, to avoid the freezing of the progress of the world. And in this summit, as I have mentioned already, we've been able to leave aside those differences and look for those things that not only unite us, but those things that are fundamental in order to confront with more optimism the future. I want to say clearly that in many fronts we are not doing enough. In the front of free trade, avoiding protectionism, the unfair behaviors in terms of trade, we have to do much more. In the front of climate change and global warming, we have to do much more also. The worst that can happen is that these conflicts, these discrepancies shall paralyze not only what our rights, but also our obligation. The current generations, and especially the future ones, will be very severe when they make us accountable regarding what we did and what we did not do regarding the confrontation of global warming or these situations of protectionism and commercial wars. And of course, that I believe that in this summit we have been able to make great progress. I believe that it's been a summit that left behind somehow the non-agreement of the APEC summit that was held only recently. And this is the important thing, to confront problems, not to avoid them, and to confront them not only with words and intentions, but rather with commitments, with actions and results. President, good afternoon, Karina Suñer from Channel 13. I want to ask you about your meeting with the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Theresa May. You were able to talk with her. What about the bilateral talks? We held a meeting with the Prime Minister. I know that she is confronting very important challenges, but we've been able to achieve great results. First, how to maintain relationships of integration, openness, free trade between Chile and the United Kingdom. After the Brexit, in any of its modalities, and we've been able to really make a very satisfactory and broad agreement. But also, we made progress in other fronts, the collaboration between both countries in terms of science, technology, education, and also in terms of cybersecurity. Those were part of our conversation, and Chile has always had a great relationship with the UK. We want to strengthen it, and that was the main agreement with the Prime Minister, Theresa May. Well, today, at the request of President Macri, I had a privilege that I had never had. I was sung my happy birthday. I was congratulated by the main leaders in the world. I acknowledge that, but I felt more moved even by the warm and close message sent by my wife, Cecilia. Well, today, Telethon, it's the end of Telethon, and I will participate this night once again in Chile in the final stage of Telethon. And of course, this is an initiative that really is good for the soul of our country. It not only helps thousands and thousands of children that have disabilities. I've visited many centers of Telethon. In October, I could see firsthand what it is all about, to give hope, happiness to those children that face life with a special disability. But I believe that Telethon is good for the soul of our country, because it takes the best of us, that more humanitarian spirit. I believe that Telethon that occurs early in December, and Christmas that occurred and in December, are moments in which the best of human beings comes out. Thank you very much. Thank you. We thank all the media.